Yo, Rex Mechanica. Thank you. I wasn't waiting for that to start talking. I was trying to remember all the myriad steps involved with what has been described by some as the hardest job on the planet. You gotta go live. Before that, you gotta open the software. Before you open the software, you need to download it, which requires a web browser, which requires a computer, which requires money, which requires maybe a job, which requires skills, which requires perhaps education or nepotism if you're lucky, which requires, being born in the first place. So it's a lot goes into it. It's not, is it only pressing like one or two buttons? Yeah, it's only pressing one or two buttons, but it took a lot to get to those one or two buttons, Welcome back. How was your first Peloton ride back from vacation? Looks like your average watts were down from your normal at 176. Bills Mafia for life. I love you because you keep it real, okay? When I'm on my highest highs, you say, way to go, brother, great job. And when I'm just moving the pedals to get it done, you're like, is everything okay? Well, it is and it isn't. I'm extremely jet lagged right now. So today's Tuesday. I woke up 7 a.m. on Monday, Tokyo time, which is like the evening. One second here. Thank you, Manarelli, for the gifted subscriptions as well. Thank you, Jimbo Marshmallow as well. I appreciate it. It's not about that, though. It's not about that, okay? Long story short, I was awake for 8 hours in Japan, 10-hour flight. Got back to Vancouver 7 a.m. in the morning. Rode the lightning all day. Stayed awake. Mostly because my daughter slept on the plane, so she wanted to be awake when she got home. Fell asleep at 8 last night. Woke up at 1 to my daughter crawling into bed with us. Woke up at 3. She was like, I'm hungry. And I'm like, of course you're hungry. This is like Japanese lunchtime. Fed her breakfast at 3 in the morning. She goes to sleep on the couch around 4:30 or 5. I was like, at this point, I got to send it, man. I got to stay awake. So I've been up for 6.5 hours already. Nausea is a little annoying, but happy to be back for sure. Happy to be back. He still loves us. You know the most fucked up part? I hesitate to even say this because I think it's almost too real for Twitch. After 2 weeks away in countries where I don't really speak the language, enough to at least say I don't speak the language, I'm sorry that I'm ignorant. I apologize for making my ignorance your problem when you're just trying to be at work. I'm just trying to get some spaghetti for my daughter and maybe something for myself as well while we're here. I realized that I am crazy and have been pretending that I'm sane, and 100% of my self-esteem comes from being perceived as being funny online. And when you remove that from me by placing me in an environment where I can't express myself in a novel and witty way, the facade of my avatar completely falls apart, and I'm like a worm on the sidewalk after it rains, just, I guess, not really asking to be stepped on, but expecting it at any given moment, which almost breeds resentment because people in Japan especially were so nice, and I was like, you should be stepping on me. You should be. I'm in your country. I make no effort to speak the language whatsoever. I order 2 beers and curry every single time I go to a restaurant because it's the only thing I know how to say, and I'm self-medicating, and people are like, yeah, that would be awesome. We'd be happy to bring that to you. And I'm like, no, you should be rolling your eyes and cursing me out to my face and blowing cigarette smoke in my eyes or something like that. You should be upset, man. You should be upset. We love to be degraded. I just like to be treated, I think, with authenticity. And maybe the Japanese servers in their hearts, maybe they were like, I love all human beings and tourists. Thank you for coming to my country and my establishment and being a patron of this restaurant. But I kind of feel like I deserve to be at least treated with scorn. Maybe not open malevolence, but scorn, perhaps. Yeah.
Scorn.
You'd love Boston? I'm starting to think, you know what I think it is? I actually think that at some point you get cooked. And I don't mean cooked in the sense like, you know, burned. Like you can't, like you're just a waste, essentially. I think more in the way that like, you know, you can't alter the composition of the cake after it's been in the oven. 10 years ago, I went to Japan for the first time, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Everybody's so nice. They're all so happy to see me. Everybody is like, my God, thank you for visiting our nation and gracing us with your presence. And I was like, this is the way that it should be in North America. And now, 10 years later, after living in Vancouver for so long, I'm like, no, I need people to be a little ruder to me. I need, and admittedly, this is just customer service interactions, but I need the customer service interactions to be like short and curt. I need to like drop a Pocari Sweat on the counter and go like, and then the guy at the counter goes like, and then he points to the register and I give him that much money. And then he goes, and I go, I need that. Instead, every time I felt like I was buying something in Japan, because my mind was so twisted, I felt like I was being mocked. I'm like, why does it take me 3 minutes to buy a Pocari Sweat? It's because the Japanese culture and language is steeped in like, you know, welcome to our store. We're so happy to see you. Is this the only thing you'll be having today? Are you sure this is what you want? And I'm like, yeah, I'll just take the Pocari Sweat, please. And they're like, is it okay that it's 230 yen? And I'm like, that's fine. And then they pass me like a little tray and I put the money on the tray. I put exactly 230 yen on the tray and I give it to them and they go, are you sure this is the money you want to give us? And I go, I'm sure it's the money I want to give you. And then they go like, thank you so much for the money that you've given me. And I'm like, you're welcome so much for the money that I've given you. Like we're adding a whole lot of rigmarole into this Pocari Sweat purchase. And I think that I think I suffered like a little bit of a mental breakdown, but I got out of it. I think. I don't know. It feels good to be speaking English. This is all to say that like I think that I realized while I was away that like as much as I get annoyed with Twitch chat, this is like you're stuck with me. It's like Batman and the Joker. We're stuck with each other. We're destined to go around. I think we could do this forever. I need your social interaction to feel normal. And maybe some of you need me talking so that you can also have like a bastion of normalcy in your life as well. It may be twisted, but it's honest for sure. Or maybe you're just here to be entertained, which is great as well. But yeah, I left and went crazy and was like, oh, I need a little bit of rudeness in my life. So I was at Hello Kitty World, Sanrio Puroland, and I want to just be clear. Everybody in Japan was super nice. Everybody in Korea was nice. We didn't have any like bad experiences on the trip or anything like that, but my brain got so warped by like some of the experiences that I was in that I became like a Dostoevsky character in a novel or something like that. Like I was starting to lose my mind. I became misanthropic. We went to Sanrio Puroland, aka Hello Kitty World, because we have a 3-year-old kid who likes Kuromi and Hello Kitty and My Melody and Cinema Roll and stuff like that. And while being there, I think that I had the opposite of like a psychedelic experience. You know how people say like when you do acid, which I've never done, you can experience ego death, where you realize that what you thought was yourself is actually just one light in a cosmic collective consciousness, where you and the flowers on the ground and the trees in the forest and the fish in the sea and all of God's other creatures are all interwoven in this tapestry together, both made of the same stuff and affecting each other, and they're affecting you. I had the exact opposite thing where being at that theme park for like 6 hours gave me ego birth. And I was like, you are all fake. I am the only real person here. I have to be the only person in this establishment with any kind of internality. And I wanted, again, just because it's on this platform, you got to be on the nose. The problem was up here. It wasn't the people around me. I'm at Hello Kitty World. Okay, so what do I expect? But I was losing my mind. Like when there were people there with kids and they were taking photos with like the mascots and stuff like that, I was like, that makes sense. You're here for your kids. I was giving them the look and I was saying like, we're biting the curb together on this one, right? But the predominant customer was like 2 people in their 20s on like a date. And I was lining up, you know, to take my picture with Pom Pom Purin, which isn't even a person in a costume. It's just like a plastic statue of Pom Pom Purin, and I'm behind like 7 people that brought like a plush toy that isn't Pom Pom Purin, and then they don't even like take the photo with the statue. They just put the plushie on the statue, and then they take like 12 photos, and then I watch them like edit it on their phone and post it to social media like while we're in the next line. And I was like, what the fuck are we doing, man? Wait, like I was, because I don't know if it was some Batman villain. I'm not sure if it was the Joker, the Riddler, Bane, Clayface, or the one that's a fucking crocodile in jorts or whatever. But I was like, this is crazy. And like, Kate was using this vending machine where you like put in a couple of bucks and then you spin a little crank and fake popcorn bubbles up. It goes like, and then after 30 seconds, popcorn pops out the bottom and you eat it. So Kate was spinning the popcorn and it was doing that. And then a middle-aged Japanese man like walked behind me and he observed the whole process. And he just uttered under his breath, he went, "Sugoi." And then he like nodded and walked away. And I was like, I can't be here right now. I don't know what I need, but it's not this. And for context also, like I think precipitating my mental breakdown, we're going through like some health crises in my family right now that has me rethinking like the meaning of life and mortality and like what do I want out of my life? Like what would a good life have looked like if I was looking back on it? So I was on like this search for meaning, and in the meantime I was in what I can only describe as like the most opposite version of that place that I've ever been to in my entire life. After like 2 weeks of parenting in a country where I don't speak the language and my kid is like throwing temper tantrums and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I can really only go to the convenience store. We can walk outside and I can go to the convenience store. And then like people are pushing past me to look at like a plate with My Melody's face on it. And they're like 30 years old and they're like not even buying the plate. They're just taking a picture of themselves next to the plate and like not buying the plate, not taking a picture of the plate, taking a picture of themselves next to the plate. And I was like, in a way, I'm getting too much out of this theme park that was essentially just like go and take cute photos with characters you've seen on TV. But yeah. And then like, I brought it back, I think. I feel better now. I feel better after I've exercised. Who's your favorite Sanrio character? I mean, that's the worst part of all. I gotta say, it's probably Gudetama. And it seems like they're like phasing out Gudetama. The worst part of the whole thing is that there was like one little Gudetama corner, and then they're pushing like all these other characters that I have like no real interest in, to be honest with you. Pachaco, he's popping off, yeah. One thing I won't miss about your vacation is seeing your torso on Twitter. I appreciate that. Listen, we had fun. We had fun outwardly. Inwardly, sometimes I was plumbing the depths of my soul. But I was also like, you know, I think it was the good kind of like introspection. In a way, I needed like 2 weeks away to not be focused on surface level Did you see this stuff on Twitter? Exactly. Did you see Chitan, Japan's crazy mascot who's trying to kill all advertising and stuff like that? In a way, it was almost like a sabbatical from vanity and an opportunity to be introspective, because I was like surrounded by tens of thousands of people at every single place that I went in my entire life, or on my entire trip, and at the same time I was like, I can't speak with them, so all I could do is talk to myself. It was, yes, and I mean, and trust me, the cycle that goes around, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to it as well, is like comical. I was like misanthropic at Disney World. I was like watching middle-aged people like line up to take a picture of a dude in a bunny costume, and then I'm like, why are they doing this? And they're like, it's not just a bunny, the bunny was in a movie. And I'm like, which one? And people are like, I don't know, fucking one of the old ones probably. Yeah, dude, but then the thing that then comes in second is that I'm like, what kind of fucking idiot is like going to Disney World and then like being sad? But then I was also like, what kind of adult is like going to Disney World and they're like, oh shit, get out of my way, there's like a spoon that looks like Mickey Mouse. Like, and then I'm like, but that's what they're there for. That's Disney World, bro. Like, to get render unto Caesar that which is Caesar, and render unto Mickey that which is Mickey's. And then it's like self-pitying. I'm like, we're all in this together. And I'm like, we're all angels. And then the next day I'm like, we're all bugs. And then I'm like, yeah, but I'm the best bug. And then I'm like, no, you're the worst bug, because you're the ant who thinks that he's the king of the ants. You're the ant who thinks like, man, all these other ants are so stupid. But meanwhile, when you get hungry, you're still raiding the picnic basket just like everybody else. I met a fellow Twitch streamer. You may know Alex, or also known as twitch.tv/Arix. We met up. We had some katsu curry. I think like it also briefly like saved my life. So we went to 3 aquariums. All right, my kid loves fish. First aquarium was in Korea. I was like, wow, cool fish. Second aquarium was when I was deep in the guts of introspection, the day after Sanrio Puroland broke my brain while I'm going through this like personal family stuff. And I was like, brother, these fish are me. They built, the fish are trapped in these beautiful ornate sceneries that give them enough like fulfillment and distraction so they don't notice that they're fucking trapped. And I was like, sound familiar? That's human beings. I'm watching people walk over to the fish, not even look at the fish, just pose, get the hair right, take my photo next to this fish. Don't take a photo of the fish, okay? And see nature's beauty that evolved over 10 million years. Billions of years. We're starting with the first prokaryotic organisms, right? I've made a fish that's got eyes bulging out of his head. Don't even fucking look at it, man. Don't look at the fish. And don't take a picture of me looking at the fish, which doesn't capture the nature of beauty, but might capture the emotion of curiosity, me learning about the world around me. Instead, can you take a photo of me standing next to the fish so people know that I was at the aquarium? They can fill in the blanks that I was looking at the fish and appreciating it, but mostly it's like, check out my cute outfit. So I was losing my mind. And I was like, we're the fish. They built this beautiful box. They put incredible scenery in it so we don't realize we're being observed by the CCTV cameras in the corner, right? Not to mention the photos everybody's taken of each other, of which I'm inevitably in the reflection of the aquarium going like some kind of fucking moron. And then had lunch with Alex, had some social interaction, felt heard for the first time in like a week and a half. We went to an aquarium and I said, oh, cool fish. Wow, what an amazing creature. And not at a single point was I like, these fish are me. I'm the fish. I was just like, wow, dolphins can jump really fucking high. What I'm trying to say is that I think depression is bad, but it's also like a huge buff to internality. I was coming up with deep thoughts, the likes of which I haven't been able to scrape for like several years. Unfortunately, that's off the table because I exercised today, so all my problems are solved. Are you coming out as a fish? I'm just saying that I was losing it. And again, can I just to add this, because when it inevitably gets taken out of context, people are going to be like, this guy sounds like an asshole. I was being the asshole. They're just fun people going to the aquarium, taking a picture of the aquarium, going like this, and I'm in the corner like, humanity is a disease. Like, I'm the fucking idiot, don't get me wrong. If you want to have those thoughts, you should just stay at home in bed. Instead, because I was on vacation, I'm like, I gotta go outside. Then when I was outside, I was like, ugh, people documenting their lives. At no point was I like, I'm the only person thinking straight. There were some times where I was like, I'm the only person here not in love with Hello Kitty, but I mean, again, what do you expect when you're at Hello Kitty Land? Evil Anthony Bourdain was a great way to put it. What the fuck are they doing with the food at Disney World, man? I get, like, every single place we ate at in Disney World, and some of the food tasted good, but you'd go to a restaurant and it would be called, like, you know, New York Deli. And then you look at the menu and it's like, we're bringing back American classics. Corn sandwich and trout pizza. And you're like, corn sandwich? Trout pizza? Sounds good as fuck. I mean, some of it was okay. I just felt like, again, it's, what do you expect at Disneyland, okay? But like, I'm eating at an Italian restaurant in fucking Mediterranean villa, a fake European set in Japanese Disney World, and I'm like, what's on the menu? They're like, you're not gonna believe this. We got something called long pizza. I get a long pizza. What is it? It's a baguette with like tomato sauce on it. I was like, this ain't long pizza, bro. It's a damn like open-faced marinara sandwich. Also, like, again, and I had a great time. I loved riding the roller coasters. I loved seeing the look on my daughter's face when she was riding her first roller coasters. She rode Space Mountain. Well, like, let's back it up. She rode Splash Mountain. I was worried that she was going to be terrified because the shit has a 5-story drop, right? She's 3 years old. It's at an angle. Like, we finished the ride and she was like, that was really fun. I was like, oh shit. Awesome. She rode Space Mountain. I was like, how was that one? She said it hurt a lot. I was like, damn. She's absolutely right. That motherfucker do be rattling you. I weigh like 180 pounds. She weighs like 40 pounds. She must have been smashing her head off the fucking sides. That shit, it rocks you, man. Did she like it? No, she said Space Mountain was not that fun, but she did enjoy Splash Mountain a lot. I was surprised you could go on these roller coasters at age 3, but she was chilling. Can I also say Japan kind of based for like their version of It's a Small World doesn't even include North America. Like the only part they have that has North America is that like the very end of the ride, like a cowboy and a Native American are like standing next to each other. But like there's no Canada, there's no Mexico, there's no US. That's a little weird. Well, fucking the one in Disneyland, if I remember correctly, the cowboy and the Native American are holding hands, which is way crazier to me. The one in Orlando and the one at Tokyo Disneyland, at least they were just like, here's like 2 elements of like North American history. The one in California, I was like, that's not how that shit went down, motherfucker. Also, like in the midst of having like a mental breakdown and thinking about like what the meaning of life is, we visited Kate's 94-year-old grandmother who lives alone in South Korea, which is amazing and inspirational in and of itself. Again, I was in this like melancholic mental state, and we get to her apartment and she has 3 suitcases full of like old clothes that she's trying to give us. And I was like, I was like, the intersection of tragedy and comedy was getting me so good. Like she opens up the suitcase and she's like handing my wife sweaters that have not been worn since like 1995. And Kate's going like, Grandma, I don't really like want this sweater. This sweater's like way too big for me. And then she's like, well, your husband can wear it. And I'm like, it's got like fucking like pink flowers and stuff on it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying it's like visibly not my style. And it was making me laugh. And then I was like, this is a fucked up, existence is a fucked up thing, man. This is like the good outcome. She's 94 years old. She's like 14 years past the average female life expectancy. She's independent. Like, she's living alone, and she's living alone because she wants to live alone. Like, it's not like she got abandoned by her family. She was like, if you guys are just going to chill here, like in LA, then I'm going to go back and live in Seoul. And I'm like, that's amazing. But then I was also like, what the fuck is she doing, man? She's handing me like dress shirts in a box. Like, and the box visibly is like unopened, and it was clearly purchased in like the 1990s and is for like a 110-pound Korean man. And I'm like, I'm saying thank you, but I'm also like, how am I gonna, we already got like 3 suitcases of our own stuff, and now I gotta figure out what, so we just ended up like, we spent an hour like going through the stuff, and then we went to the post office and like shipped a box of this stuff back home, and then went out to eat. Is any of it good? There was some stuff that I was like, this is kind of fire, man. She had, but my wife disagreed, but she had some of those like Chanel style, like half jackets that are coming back in style for women. Well, I don't even know how to describe it because I'm so like fashion ignorant, but they're like, are they wool? Are they chiffon? I don't really know what to describe them as. Yeah, they're like crop top jackets with like big lapels, and like they're white with the black stripe on the border and stuff. Tweed, it might be tweed. And my wife was like, what am I gonna do with this stuff? And I was like, those tweed half jackets were pretty sick. And she was like, you don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, I know. But in my head, I was like, those would go off. You know what's weird? I don't know if this is relatable for other people who have been, you know, in countries where they don't speak the language and are also not making an effort to learn the language, which is admittedly like disgraceful. In spite of all that, like, I don't speak Korean, and I haven't really ever made an effort to learn how to speak Korean. Here I am in Korea. I go up to a restaurant or a food court counter, and the service staff look at me and they say hello, and I'm like, fuck you, man. You look at my face, you just assume A, that I don't speak Korean, even though context, I'm in Korea, motherfucker, and B, that I speak English and not like, I'm not monolingually like German or Dutch or something like that. They assume right though? Yeah, I know, that's why it's fucked up, man. So something that happened multiple times is I would like walk up and they would say hello, and I would just go, because I've been practicing the order in my head for like 10 minutes and then trying to get the courage to order. I'd be like, 안녕하세요. Kimchi kimbap duge juseyo. And then they would go like, oh, like this motherfucker speaks Korean. And then they would say something in Korean, and I would go, 죄송합니다. 한국말 못해요. Which means, I'm sorry, I don't speak Korean. Which must be a fucking confusing ass interaction for the person that's manning the counter. They walked up, spoke to me in English. I said, fuck that. Here's my order in Korean. They probably said like, do you want a bag? And I said, I don't speak Korean. It's fucking confusing, man. +2, I've been there. I don't know. Something's wrong with me. It feels good to be seen, though. It feels nice that people are saying, yes, that also happened to me. Just order in English. I know, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I walked into a Japanese pasta restaurant with my daughter. I was giving my wife a bit of a break. And then she taught me how to say, I don't speak Japanese, which is like Nihongo dekimasen, which I got a lot of mileage out of, okay? First time I went to the pasta restaurant, apparently, I said Nihongo dekimasu or something like that, and that one syllable doesn't just change the meaning, it inverts it. So basically, I walked into the restaurant, and the dude said something in Japanese, and I said, I'm sorry, I speak Japanese. And then he looked at me like, what? And then I just kind of like looked at him, because I'm like, I don't know any other sentences, like how to proceed through the interaction. And then he was like, do you want an English menu? And I was like, hi, arigato gozaimasu. But then even like I'm looking at the English menu, And I'm like, how am I going to order this shit? Like, I'm not going to call this guy over and be like, tomato cream pasta, please. So I just called him over and I was just like, I'm a piece of shit. I was just like, and I like point to my daughter and I'm like, one of these. It's so fucking embarrassing, man. For a 35-year-old man. I was like 22 or 23 when I lived in Korea, and I was like, what an adventure. I'll just walk into a random restaurant. Give me whatever this is. Fucking hooves come out. I'm like, whoa, hooves. I'm eating hooves. This is like my Emily in Paris moment. 35-year-old dad, I was like, what the fuck am I doing, man? I can't parent here. So there's these things in Korea called kids cafes, which are like indoor playgrounds, where it's kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese, but a lot smaller, and it costs like $3 an hour, which is crazy. So like day 2 or 3 in Korea, we went to a kids cafe, and it was beautiful, okay? She was the only kid in the whole cafe. She's jumping on trampolines. She's going down zip lines. Kate and I are drinking like, iced coffees, laughing it up. It was beautiful. We go to Busan. Kate's, she's got friends in Busan, so she's like, I'm going to go see them. You're probably going to be bored because we're going to be speaking in Korean the whole time. I'm like, that is fair. So I'm like, I'm going to take our daughter to a kids cafe. I lived in Korea. I can do anything, right? So I Google a kids cafe close to our hotel. And I'm like, I can do this. Fucking channel the intrepid spirit that I had in 2010, 2011, okay? Took my daughter outside, got us ready. I'm like, we're going to a kids cafe. She's like, yeah! Get on there, find the bus that I'm supposed to take, okay? Get on the bus. The bus is going in the right direction. I'm doing the foreigner thing where I'm repeating the name of the bus stop in my head like the entire fucking ride, like MacGruber remembering the license plate. So they finally, like 7 stops in, I'm like, that's the one! Easy, God mode, right? So I get out and I'm looking at Google, first mistake, and I'm like, okay, it's in this building, and it's like something out of a movie. Because it's Seoul, there's like 30 stories, okay? It's a 30-story office tower that this kids cafe is supposed to be in. I don't know what floor it's on. So I'm looking at the sign outside, which literally has like 200 businesses on it, stretching up like 70 feet in the air. I'm going like, okay, floor 30, like that. I'm pretty sure that's like a hospital. I'm pretty sure that's like a fucking office, blah, 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 okay? So I'm looking at my kid the whole time is like trying to get hit by a car, essentially. So I'm like tugging on her sleeve, and I'm like going down, and I'm like, finally, like I keep looking, and I find one that says Kids Cafe. So I'm like, all right, Kids Cafe. I go up, I go in the elevator for the Kids Cafe. I get up there, and there's just, the lights are off. There's just one dude sitting at a desk, like surrounded by activities and stuff like that. And I'm like, fuck that, we're not doing this, because I don't know how to. I expected it to be like a kiosk, and I would hit like 2 hours and then put a bill into the machine, and then we would just chill. I can't go through the interaction to talk with this guy and be like, are you open? Like, what even is this? So I go back down, and I'm talking to Kate, and I'm like, I need to find another kids cafe. So she like sends me another one, and it's like another office tower, and I'm like, my kid is like, I'm bored. I want to get hit by a car. And I'm like, stop. And then eventually, like, I don't even want to exaggerate. It was like an hour and a half trying to find it, because like apparently the one that I was trying to go to had an active Google listing, but has been out of business for like 8 months, which is funny for sure. And then like the one that Kate sent me was more like a school type thing, like you send your kid at like 9 in the morning and they do like a cooking class or something like that. And then I was like, I'm sorry, I have to just go back to the hotel. And my kid was freaking out. And I was like, I'm sorry, your dad's a piece of garbage. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to get around. I don't know how to ask anybody. I'm not going to walk up to like a random person and be like, excuse me, is there a kids cafe near here? And they're going to say something that I'm not going to understand, which is my fault. And I was like, I'll just be the bad dad today. So yeah, I had like a little bit of a crisis. There were a few like semi-crisis. They were all like not like, dangerous moments. It was more just like dangerous for my psyche. Phone translating is pretty sick though. That's true. Google Lens was kind of popping off. Although I love when I would use it in Japan, and I would hold it up to like some Japanese kanji, and then it would just translate to like whatever the kanji sounds like without actually translating the meaning into English. You know, it's like, okay, great. Now that I know that this says sisu, but like I don't know what sisu is. Bro had a life-changing event in 2 weeks of vacation. Okay, you'll be happy to know that like most of the conversation is steeped into like I'm mostly just embarrassed with myself. I was like, what kind of moron is like, let's go to Disneyland and like choose to be sad? But it was also, I mean, there was authenticity in that. At no point was I like, oh, like this country sucks, right? Like they like they really fucked up when they made everyone nice and polite in Japan and put the signs in the only language my dumbass speaks so I can easily get around. And I'm like, well, I can't hit the waiter with a witty bon mot, so like I've lost all my self-esteem. Also, I was freaking the fuck out, man. So the last hotel we stayed at in Japan, it was actually more like an Airbnb. And I gotta say, listen, everybody, the secret's out on Airbnb, but every time I think about it, I am like, what the fuck are we doing? I'm like, what do you mean it costs more than a hotel, isn't centrally located to like any venues or amenities or anything? I have to clean the motherfucker myself. I have to be quiet. There's no facilities, like there's no pool or like sauna or anything. There's like a little kitchenette and that's it. Like, what are we doing here? And then also, and then they're like, shh, don't tell anybody that you're not, if anybody asks, you've lived in this apartment for 10 years. So I gotta be like a spy to stay at this shitty fake hotel? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, the last place we were staying, it was kind of like a half Airbnb, half hotel sort of thing, which is like, I think they bought like an entire apartment building and turned every unit into an Airbnb. Regardless, we were sleeping there probably like 9 p.m. On our second last night, and then I hear dong 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 dong, like somebody's knocking on our door. And I'm like, whatever, we don't live here, so I'm just gonna sleep through it. Then like a minute later, bing bong. Bing bong. So I said, okay, this is like, enough's enough. I gotta go see what's going on here. But I was not thinking straight because like I'm in a different country. I should just hunker down, right? So I get out of bed, I put my clothes on, put on the slippers that you wear to get from the room to the bed. Get to the genkan, which is the shoe pit at the front of the apartment where you take off those slippers because those slippers aren't allowed to touch the genkan, and then put on your shoes, which are the vile and carry the dirt of outside. Put those, so by the like time this 10 minutes is up, nobody's at the door, and I look outside, there's like a black van. I got like a shiver down my spine, and I just closed the door, locked it, put the deadbolt on, and then tried to go back to sleep, man. I'm sure that it was probably just like someone was knocking on the wrong door, probably a drunk Airbnb guest or something like that was like, this is my room, but actually it wasn't. But then I was like, I'm unsettled, man. What's the shoe thing? Listen, I'm not knocking. It's very clean everywhere. They must be onto something with the shoes and the slippers, but I was laughing because I don't know, like I'm paranoid about getting the etiquette wrong. We were staying at a hotel in Korea, so you take your shoes off at the hotel, inside the hotel room, you put on slippers. And then like one night we were doing laundry and I was just like, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm like too lazy to take the slippers off, to put shoes on, to go to the laundry room, to take shoes off, to put laundry slippers on, to get the laundry, to take the laundry slippers off, to put my shoes on, to go back to the hotel room door, take my shoes off and put the hotel room slippers on. So I walked outside with the hotel room slippers on, not outside just outside the room on the carpet that led to the laundry room, not even like into an elevator or something like that. And I was just praying that because it was late at night, no one would see me. Of course, I get like 3 steps, turn a corner, and like a housekeeper catches up to me and she's just speaking Korean to me, but I don't know what she's saying. And like, I'm having a panic attack, man, because I just hear her say like something, something, something. shin ball, something, 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 shin ball. And I'm like, that means shoes. And I'm like, I just got to go to the laundry room. And she's like saying shin ball, shin ball. And I'm like, I don't know. I just need to get in the laundry room. I don't know what to tell you. She fucking hated my ass, man, for sure. But at the same time, I was like, I'm not going back to my room at this point, because then she knows where I'm staying. And she might fuck with the room. So, like, at least I can be like a specter out here. I can just get my laundry and then wait till she's not looking and sneak in. I didn't even talk about the airplane. Do you know we flew a budget airline? Motherfucker in front of us on the flight was blasting music. I think, like, he was so fucking old that I think he thought the music was coming out of his headphones quietly. So he kept cranking up the music, but his Bluetooth wasn't on. So he was just blasting like Japanese country music to our entire section of the airplane. I was like, I don't know what to do, man. Then, like, thankfully, I stood up to get something out of the overhead bin, and I, like, made eye contact with him. I think, like, he had a moment of realization, because I saw him, like, look at his headphones and be like, oh. Was it Zip Air? It was Zip Air. The check-in experience for Zip Air was quite horrible, but actually, like, the flight itself was totally fine. Which is, I'm not flight anxious anymore, but I have been kind of tweaking a little bit, seeing all these stories, and by all, I mean, like, you know, the one or two of them, but of, like, a flight will just be, like, flying, and then it's like, oh, they've fallen 4,000 feet out of the sky in 3 seconds, and, like, people are smashing their backs up against the overhead bins and stuff like that, like, all the hot air pockets that are, like, causing unforeseeable turbulence. I've been keeping my seatbelt on all the time, and I'm trying to put the seatbelt on my 3-year-old, and she's like, I don't want to wear the seatbelt. And I'm like, fine, okay, just get turned into a smoothie, but the overhead bin then. Sorry, fuck me, I guess, fuck me. Chibly-ass stream intro. I feel like I'm so back. I don't know if you're still here, either, Kate, but I was talking about, like, I think it's pathetic, but at least it's honest. I think I need stream to feel normal. How sad? But maybe it's not sad. Maybe I'm the only streamer being honest. So I was like, I mean, it's been like half of my life. It's almost all of my adult life I've been a streamer. So I was like, why the fuck is my self-esteem in the toilet when I'm in Japan? And I'm like, okay, because I'm used to having like 2,000 people a day be like, you're the funniest motherfucker on the planet. And now I'm in 2 countries where I can't even speak the language. Like, I'm a... Of course I'm going through a crisis right now. I've been, like, addicted to validation, and now I'm in a country where I can't even, like, I can basically order food and that's about it. Like, it was a cold plunge of the soul, bro. Can I tell you about that Splash Mountain photo as well? So, I'm not good with roller coasters. Sometimes I will ride them. And usually, like, when I'm riding them, I actually have an okay time. You know, it's like the anxiety in advance that's baseless, but also it gets me. I was like, in every single ride photo I've ever taken in my entire life, and Librarian can validate this for sure, the fear of God comes over me. Even on rides where I've been like, this ride is not that crazy, like the Flume photo from South Korea last time we went, that was like a baby ride for like little kids. And I was like, this ain't nothing. We get to the drop's like 10 feet. I'm like, ah! Like, it just comes over me, right? So the whole, and this is so embarrassing to admit, the whole ride on Splash Mountain, I was like, I'm going to be at inner peace in this photo. Even if there's a war inside of me, there's going to be inner peace on my face in the photo, okay? So I know that the way Splash Mountain works, because before the ride, I'm like, I got to go to the Wikipedia for this ride, so I'm prepared for it, right? Like, I got to stress myself out before I get on this instead of just living in the moment. It's like before I used to get on airplanes back when I was afraid of flying, I would be like, oh, I'm in a fucking de Havilland's Comet today. Let me see how many of those have crashed in history. So I know Splash Mountain has like a little dip, and then a little dip, and then it's got the big drop, right? So I go to the first little dip happens. I was like, this is a great opportunity to practice. So I'm like, inner piece on my face. Little drop happens. I feel my inner piece go like, and I'm like, okay, we can't let that happen again. Second drop, inner piece, do a little bit better. Feel like I was kind of like gripping the handrails, like white knuckling it, but I was doing okay. And then on the big drop, that was the calmest I could muster my face. But I was literally like that. That's how that. I'm lucky the angle was like here, because if it had been like straight on, you would have seen I was baring like all of my teeth. And you can see I'm like straining my neck, and like there's a vein like popping out and stuff like that. Like that was me trying to maintain a sense of stoicism. A, to prove I could do it. B, to not give my wife the ick. And C, so that my daughter knows that everything's okay and there's nothing to be scared of, even though I was scared. And then on Space Mountain, so we did Splash Mountain, got it done, and I was like, that was fun. That was a good ride, I get it. Then on Space Mountain, I was like, now I can actually achieve inner peace. I swear to God, I did. It doesn't matter because Space Mountain is completely dark, okay? But I did the whole ride with my eyes closed, almost pretending to be asleep like this. And then I was like, I don't know when the camera is going to shoot the photo, but in the photo, I'm going to be like asleep. And it's going to be a great photo. And then they didn't even have like a fucking photo stand at the end of it. So I just did the whole ride pretending to be asleep like some kind of fucking moron. It's just wasted my time. It was kind of funny though. I also think like, part of the life crisis was that like our daycare took a month off right before we left on vacation. And then we took 2 weeks off, like literally the day she came back. So we went from like mostly full-time parenting to like on vacation full-time parenting. So I was like a little burned out on it. And then my kid was a little, poorly behaved sometimes, which makes sense because we were spending like, a lot of time doing stuff that, like traveling on trains, where I think that she was like, cool, a train. But then like a minute later, she's like, I need something more than this. And I'm like, I get it. You rooting for the Oilers? I won't be watching the games because I have a life, but I will be rooting for the Oilers. When I check the scores in the morning, I will... Wait, I want this banana to break. Let's buy this. I will be saying good when the Oilers win, and when they lose, I'll be saying, it's okay too. I got nothing against the Florida Panthers. We're all God's children, is I guess what I'm trying to say, and all things are possible through the power of Christ. Did I mention I became deeply religious while I was away? Me too. Who the fuck are you, man? Why are you taking my moment from me? Why are you stealing my moment? We got a picture of it on Splash Mountain. I'm being serious. How do those motherfuckers play like board games and like shit on Splash Mountain, man? I'm fighting for my life on every roller coaster. Kate will tell you, I can't... Even like we were riding some baby roller coasters with my daughter. There's like dads that are filming like front-facing camera to see their kids' reactions, the whole roller coaster. I'm like, I can't do that shit. I'm dropping my phone 100%. I'll probably be like squeezing the phone too hard and it'll like pop out of my hands like a stick of butter or something like that. I gotta like, I'm white knuckling the thing the whole time. The only exception is when I'm riding next to my daughter on the roller coaster. I'll put one arm over her, even though she's got like the seat belt or the lap bar on. Probably like completely ruining her roller coaster experience because she feels like she's being restrained by a large animal. Are you secretly a Disney adult? You listen to me, okay? Because I'm not going to say this again until someone brings it up again. I am literally not a Disney adult. Now, have I been to Disney parks 3 times in the last 18 months? Yes. Have I been on 4 Disney cruises? Yes. That does not make me a Disney adult. How am I not a Disney adult? Jay, cover your ears, okay? I don't have a tattoo of like a prop from Snow White or Bambi or some shit like that. I don't have a bedazzled Disney backpack, a lounge fly backpack with like the Mickey Mouse ears that perfectly represent me. I don't lose my mind. You will not catch me in line to take a photo of a dude in a costume because I'm mentally cooked. I'm like, that's a dude in a costume. Even if it was the real fucking Jafar, I don't want to take a photo with the real Jafar because I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a little resentful that villainous motherfucker is walking around like a free man. Sure, that shit happened like 30 years ago. Like, I guess he's paid his debt to society. But at the same time, like, even if it was the genuine Jafar, I don't need a photo with that motherfucker. He's evil. But this is a facade of the real Jafar, which is somehow even more evil. You're dressed up like a damn villain, bro. You don't see me going at Halloween dressed up as like Ted Kaczynski or some shit like that. People would be like, arrest this motherfucker. And do I have some Disney shirts? I do have some Disney shirts, okay? You will not catch me buying a spoon with Mickey Mouse ears on it, though. That's not going to happen. That's all I'm going to say. I did not say shout out to the Unabomber, okay? You're taking me out of context. Kate is also not a Disney adult. She likes the parks. She enjoys some of the movies, but she is not a Disney adult. All I'm saying is you can't know if someone is a Disney adult unless you've seen Disney adults. She has, no, you're getting it twisted here. You are Disney adults. Didn't all you motherfuckers watch the Jenny Nicholson 4-hour video essay? As far as I'm concerned, that makes you a Disney adult. I haven't even seen 4 hours of Disney movies in the past year. Hey, by the way, can I tell you a moment that unified me with Japanese culture? The day we left Japan, I woke up at 6:03 a.m. to my phone blaring an insanely loud klaxon, like, and then I picked up my phone and there was a big red triangle on it, and then something in Japanese, so I just hit OK. And then the English thing popped up and it said, we have detected an imminent earthquake, like in your vicinity, take cover, but like not under some shit that's breakable or something. I was like, oh shit. Like Kate came out of the bathroom and we just like ducked and covered. And then we waited like 3 minutes. Like we waited long enough for me to like be Googling like what to do in an earthquake. My daughter slept through it, which is insane. But anyway, so like 5 minutes or something went by and I was like, I don't think the earthquake's coming. I went online to figure out like, was there an earthquake? And yeah, it turns out there was an earthquake like so like slightly north of Tokyo. That was like a 5 on the Richter scale or something like that. Anyway, I was like, oh, I wonder, like, I was reading like comments about it. Every culture on earth is exactly the same. Same thing happens in Vancouver when there's like an Amber Alert or something like that. Every single comment in this Reddit thread about the Japanese earthquake, it's my one day to sleep in. Oh, I wish that the divine voice of God didn't rouse me from my slumber to telepathically alert me that the whole fucking earth is possibly gonna shake in 2 minutes and allow me to prepare myself and not die. And actually, nice, thanks for nothing, guys. It was actually 30 kilometers northwest of me. Maybe you could tighten up the sensors on the seismometer a little bit. Basically, the Almighty, this is something that would have been imperceivable, or inconceivable, I should say, to human beings, even like 30 years ago. That you could get a message sent by a satellite that's like, hey, there's going to be an earthquake in 3 minutes. Get the cover. People are like, yeah, but it was in Nara, and I'm in fucking Gifu, bro. That's like 2 train lines away. 30 years ago was the 90s? Yeah, and I think in the 90s we couldn't have perceived of that shit. It was one of those mysteries. It was like teenage pregnancy. It's like, it just fucking happens. Nobody knows the machinations of it. I will say I was getting a little tilted, especially in Korea. It's like, again, can I tell you something? I'm a very judgmental person. You could probably guess that if you've watched a reasonable amount of my content. Not necessarily unkind, but certainly judgmental. One of the best things about being back in Canada is when I see someone acting fucked up, I can be like, wow, they're fucked up. Whereas whenever I saw someone acting fucked up in Asia, I was like, well, I don't know if this is just like a normal person who's doing something that like is culturally appropriate to do here, but I don't know that it's appropriate to do here because I don't know the unspoken rules of the land, right? So basically it allows me to more effectively be an asshole without being accused of being, racist, I guess, which is great because I'm judging them internally to begin with. I will say I was getting tilted in South Korea because it felt like whenever we were out with our kid, if our kid cried or made noise like of any sort, we get a lot of people like looking at us, like kind of like, shut your kid up. Like, oh, your kid's like disturbing me right now. Like, oh, I'm at fucking Disneyland. Why is there a child here? And I'm like, there's no way for me to go off. But the number of times that like people would like look at my kid with disdain and I would be like, you're a 30-year-old dude with Snoopy on your shirt, motherfucker. Like, what are we doing here? Can you just relax a little bit?
Did Alex and Ryan touch bald heads? I guess, I should have suggested that. Have two bald dudes touch their own bald heads with their heads. Bald nuclear fission happens? Oh no, does that mean people around the baldies become all bald? Did you have crisis on your trip? Of course not, dude. My bro, he's like a fragile egg. If you move him out of his little egg cartage, he gets like, he's like, oh my gosh. He freaks the fuck out. And I said, what is wrong with you, bro? And he said, just leave me alone. And then, when I try to do something nice to my daughter, she goes, just leave me alone. I wonder where she learned that from. It was like, if it was his first trip to Korea or to Japan, I might understand. I would be like, oh, international travel, so scary, oh, so spooky, oh, everyone's here to get ya. I got you. I understand international travel could be scary. You're surrounded with non-Caucasians that might be fearful. I understand. But the funny thing is that it was not his first time. It was his, I don't know, fifth or sixth or something like that. In Japan, Korea. I mean, come on, he lived in Korea for a year by himself. Well, my bro was like breaking down, man, and I said, "Wow, I don't know how to say this, but you actually need Twitch chat right now." bro, bro needed. It was so weird to see a person so reliant on their internet buddies, and that he required the plus twos, and without the plus twos, he was, I don't know, he was breaking down. It was kind of surreal to watch. What's wrong with this guy? He would not eat, which is crazy because he loves eating. One time he was describing to me like eating is the pure joy in his life. He says he can eat forever. I'm like, as a person who doesn't like to eat, it's kind of weird, but I understand. He loves eating. That's just fact. But when he was going through this crisis, like Twitch withdrawal, my bro was not eating. I said, why don't you eat? And he said, I don't want to eat. And I said, what's wrong with you? And he's like, just leave me alone. And I was like, man, I got a actual baby, 3-year-old baby that I have to like feed her. And then this grown man ass who's having like crisis. I have no idea. I think it's just like anxiety. I think mostly it was just anxiety that I guess you know how anxiety it starts little to nothing and then it just blooms and it grows bigger than a tree. I think he might have maybe thought, what if I disappear? Or what if I, you know, die on the spot at the moment? Then he needs to take care of a 3-year-old in a foreign country that he does not speak the language of. So I think he was anxious that he could not speak the language and he would have to take care of 3-year-old by himself. And I think that kind of anxiety got to him. And I was like, bro, it ain't gonna happen. If anything, I'm gonna outlive you. I'm a woman and Asian and younger. 3 combos stacked. But I think the anxiety, there's no logic to the anxieties, I guess. But he was so anxious. I was just, like, it was actually so crazy. Most of people, what I've seen in Korea and in Japan, and they don't speak the language. They just have the translator app, so they speak their language like in English, saying like "Where's the toilet?" and then the auto translator on their phone would like say it in Japanese, and then the person would hear it, and then they go like, "Oh," and then they will say it in Japanese into their phone or like into the other person's phone, and they will translate it to English. I've seen a lot of that, and also people doing the camera, like capturing the picture of Japanese menu and then auto translate and stuff. But I mean, honestly, I think I would be anxious if it was two of the parents who did not speak the language of the country and then traveling with 3-year-old. I would be more anxious that way. But I was fluent in both countries, so I don't know why he was having so much crisis. Was bro really depressed over there? Yeah, dude. He was having crisis. You think I'm joking? He was having crisis, dude. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to like turn on the stream or something on my phone so he could so I can feed him some plus twos and my dude will feel better or something." I don't, cuz I'm not like you guys, chat. You guys kind of like, I don't know how to say it nicely, glorify Ryan a little bit. So whenever he says even little tiny jokes, you go plus two, haha, oh my gosh, this is my streamer, he's my king. You know what I'm saying? But when he says joke in real life, I don't always laugh. I laugh 50%. Some good, some bad. Some are like terrible and some terrible jokes. I don't even react. And then he goes, "You get it? You get it?" And then I say, "Yeah, I get it, but it was terrible." And I think that destroyed his self-esteem, which is, I mean, not fair to me to laugh at all his terrible jokes. But my dude needed audience to be constantly laughing at his jokes, even the bad ones. I was like, oh, good. My dude had a life crisis because like people weren't laughing. No, but then, so we met up with Arix, and Arix was giving out plus twos. Like, I'm just like a hard audience. I don't really give out plus two all that much. But when we met Arix was giving out a lot more plus twos. And my god, like Ryan was a little repaired. Thanks to the new blood. I remember one of the clips from the first Disney cruise. He said on stream that the cast member laughed at a joke he told. The clip showed silence after he told the joke. Oh no. I I still laugh at this. It was our last day in Korea. We were in Busan. There's this Chinese treat that's very popular in Korea right now called tanghuru. And basically what it is skewered fruit and you coat it with like sugar. So the outside it has like a casting of sugar which gets a crunchy kind of texture, and then the inside is the fruit, and a lot of people really like it, I guess. So I wanted to try it. I got the mandarin orange and strawberry, and I thought, oh, I'll give one, like the one mandarin orange slice to my daughter so she can try it. But my daughter thought it was ice cube because the hard casing of the sugar, she thought it was ice. So she thought the ice would melt, so she just kept it in her mouth, but it wasn't obviously melting because it was sugar. And Ryan put our daughter on his shoulders at this point, and he said, "Or what is it raining?" And I said, "No, it's not raining." And then he said, "What is this drop that I'm feeling? It must be some kind of water." And then you know how there's like, even on the sunny days, you feel a little bit of water sometimes, it might have been, I don't know, you just water somewhere or whatever. So I was like, "Oh, whatever, it could be just something." And then we took, I don't know, 3 more steps. Ryan said, "Wow!" What's going What's going up there? What's going up there? And then I thought, oh no, what's going on? He said, "I feel something dripping down my neck." And I was like, okay, that can't be just like a random shower of water. So I looked up, right? Because I didn't look before. It was so sunny outside that it hurt my eyes to look up. So I looked up thinking, okay, something is going terribly wrong. I saw our daughter. She had that piece of mandarin orange in her mouth, and she did not gulp her saliva this whole entire time. So her, like, herself was like Niagara Fall, right? It's just saliva waterfall. And she was tripping onto Raya's head. And it was so much that it was dripping down his back of his neck. And I have never seen Ryan this so pissed. Like, he was so pissed. I wanted to laugh so hard because of the whole situation was so hilarious. Like, she thinking that the sugary fruit snack was ice cube. And she's like, "I want to spit it out. I want to spit it out, mommy." I don't know why she didn't say it anything earlier. So I said, okay, you can spit it out right here. And then, like, she got all sticky. And then Ryan to this day thinks it's honey. And he was like, "Why is there honey on my head? Why is she dripping honey on my head?" And I said, "Oh no, we should go back. We should go back to hotel so you can shower." And then Ryan, usually he would say, "Yeah, that's a good idea." But then this time he said, "Damn right. I'm going back to hotel." Good thing we were like 1 minute walk away from the hotel, so it wasn't like, an hour of sticky stuff on his head or anything. And then, as soon as we got back, like the whole time, like the 1 minute walk back, he was like not talking. He was walking like the Terminator, silent killer. And then he walked to the shower, and I said, like, did or no, he didn't shower. He just cleaned up his head and the back of his neck. And I said, "Oh, you're not taking shower?" And he said, "No, I don't need to take shower. It's all gone." And I said, "Oh, that's good." But he was or no, did he take shower? I don't know. Or maybe Luna was taking maybe he gave bath to Luna cuz it was all sticky. Either way, it was but he was pissed the whole day, whole night. And then I saw on Twitter when he made the post, people were saying, "Good thing you're bald and don't have hair." And I was like, that's so true. Good thing he's bald. Because, I mean, it's a pretty easy clean up compared to if you had hair, right? And I still think is like so funny, but he is still so angry. I think the lesson of this story is that you should not put your daughter on your shoulder when she's eating something. There is a chance of something going bad. I would be too. Ryan would say, like, if that happened to you, wouldn't you be angry? And I said, I guess I would be, because my hair will be all tangled. But, you're bald, so I think, not so much for the bald dudes. And he said, wow. Then he was even more angry. I would rather have hair than to have that happen to my bald head. What am I missing here? Why? Definitely hair is much worse. You ever seen those little hat with the umbrella built in? I can't help but think that would have solved this. You see, that's the Chet toxicity that Ryan was missing on. That's the thing that he was deprived of. It's not like a real toxicity, like it's not personal attack, but it's so wacky and shit. You can't help but to think like, man, what the hell? Ryan would look amazing with a hat like that. No, he wouldn't be. What are you talking about? And it would go crazy with the rainbow propeller hat with the big swirly lollipop. You see how you say one thing and Chet just goes crazy? It's just maybe he needed the little propeller hat and just propeller himself back to Vancouver. He was he would have been like, I can't take this anymore. Bye. But just, like the Team Rocket in Pokemon. But Ryan was definitely, I don't know. I for myself had a great time. He by the end of it he said, I hate theming shit. And I said, what's wrong with theming stuff? And he said, I'm so sick of it. I need to go to like some kind of historical places, like museum or something, like art museum, historical places. It's just theming this, theming that. Can't have it anymore. I said, what's wrong with it? Our daughter likes it. I like it. And then he was blasting off Pokemon. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was freaking so stupid. All these people coming to Pokemon Cafe. And I was like, what's wrong with the freaking Pokemon Cafe? Like, freaking, I'm eating this Snorlax rice, and this stupid Pokemon is still smiling when I'm eating his gut. Fucking twisted, bro. And I said, it's just a plate. Like, this is messed up. This is messed up. Did Ryan tell you about the experience when I went to the hair salon? So on our first day, I went to a hair salon to get my hair cut, And mostly it was for Luna. Like, she never had a haircut in her life. So I wanted to get her a really good haircut. So we went to a nice hair salon. And while I was getting my haircut, my stylist was talking about my husband. But she wasn't talking about me much. She wasn't saying like, "Oh, you look nice," or "Oh, you're so pretty." She was mostly talking about my husband, like with thirst. And it made me really uncomfortable, but I just went like, haha, sure, haha. She said, "Wow, your husband, he's so tall." And I said, he's an okay height." And then she said, "I think every Caucasian man, like, they don't even like, is he actually handsome among the Caucasian men, or is he just, like, normie?" And I said, "I think he's pretty hot for Caucasian men, among the Caucasian men." And then she said, "I knew it. He seems so handsome." And then I said, "Oh, thank you." And then she said, "Does your husband work out?" And I said, "Yeah, he works out." And then she said, "I could tell." I was like, "Okay." And then she said, "Oh, your husband has like such a defined jawline. It's just amazing to see such a defined jawline." And I said, "Oh, yeah, yeah." And then she also said, "Your husband's like nose is so pretty, and his eyes are so big. It's just, and his eyes are blue, like, wow." And I said, "Yeah." I mean, and then she said, "Oh, your husband is so like thin, and his legs are so long." And I was like, "Okay, out of everything that you have said, Ryan's legs are not long. He got long torso and, not that long of legs. Just saying." On the other hand, I got short torso and long legs. So I know what long legs are. But she said, "Wow, your husband got such a long legs. His style is so nice too. Does he wear like that at home too?" And I said, "Yeah." But I'm pretty sure Ryan wasn't wearing something fancy or anything. He was just like wearing just a shirt and like pants. And I said, "You should tell all the nice things that you said about my husband to him. He will really like it." And then she said, "Oh, I can't. I'll be too embarrassed." And I was like, "Okay." But I told him everything that she said, and how my stylist was literally falling for my husband. I don't know. She said, "Wow, your husband, like, he is so nice and gentle. He seems like he can speak a little bit of Korean." And I said, "I guess he can speak little Korean." Like, "Wow, he seems like he got really good manner. Like, he seems so nice." It was just like non-stop about how amazing his personality and the look and all that. It felt a little awkward.
Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. And all the girlies say I'm pretty fly for a white guy. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, cinco, seis. You know it's kinda hard just to get along today. Our subject isn't cool, but he fakes it anyway. He may not have a clue and he may not have style, but everything he lacks, well, he makes up in denial. So don't debate, Play her straight, woo! You know he really doesn't get it anyway. Gonna play the field and keep it real. For you know way, for you know way. So if you don't rate, just overcompensate. At least you know you can always go on Ricky Lake. Woo! The world needs wannabes. Oh, hey, hey, do that brand new thing. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. And all the girlies say I'm pretty fly. He needs some cool tunes, not just any will suffice. But they didn't have ice cubes, so he bought vanilla ice. Now cruising in his Pinto, he sees homies as he pass. But if he looks twice, they're gonna kick his lily ass. So don't debate, a player straight. Woo! You know he really doesn't get it anyway. Gonna play the field and keep it real. For you know way, for you know way. So if you don't rate, just overcompensate. At least you know you can always go on Ricky Lake. The world loves wannabes. Hey, hey, do that brand new thing. Now he's getting a tattoo, yeah, he's getting ink done. He asked for a 13, but they drew a 31 cent phrase. Trying too hard, and he's not quite hip. But in his own mind, he's the dopest trip. Give it to me, baby. Boom, boom. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, cinco, seis. So don't debate, a player straight. You know he really doesn't get it anyway. Gonna play the field and keep it real. For you know way, for you know way. Just say that you rate, just overcompensate. At least you know you can always go on Ricky Lake. The world needs wannabes and woo! The world loves wannabes and let's get some more wannabes and hey, hey, do that brand new thing.
Yay!
Yeah, that was easy.
That was pretty good, man.